I'm Matt.
I'm Shane.
And if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that thumbs up button real hard and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks.
And also click that little bell for all of the notifications.
Whee!
Always remember,
if Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
The controversy over Justice League. Directors and artists in Hollywood are always getting screwed. I know, shocker. A story as old as Donner. But Release the Snyder Cut has become a mainstream and pop culture phenomenon and may set a precedent for future films.
Does it exist? Is it just an assembly cut, or is it unwatchable? The studio refuses to answer these questions.
I'm going hunting.
In October of 2016, Zack Snyder tweeted a video thanking the cast and crew at the end of principal photography.
I mean, Zack's film, he shot everything that he wanted to shoot. I mean, Zack probably shot enough footage in the first film to make like 2 movies out of.
In January and February of 2017, on Vero, Zack Snyder shared several post-production images, including one of Gal Gadot completing ADR, another image of Stefan Sonnenfeld at CO3 Productions working on Justice League's color correction. Snyder also posted to Twitter a video of Aquaman. At the end of the video, there is a scanline VFX timestamp for February 27th of 2017. These posts prove that Justice League had picture lock. Picture lock is when the editor and the director of the movie have decided that the movie is visually done, no more editing. Once picture lock is declared, you hand off the production to the finishing folks for things like musical scoring, color correction, and mastering. Tragedy strikes. In the wake of his daughter's death, Autumn, Zack Snyder leaves Justice League. Producer Charles Roven says in an interview with Variety that Joss Whedon has been brought aboard to finish Zack's vision.
Does your thing really stand for hope?
Yes, it does.
But it looks like an S.
Yes, it's meant to. It's meant to wind like a river.
Well, I knew you didn't bring me back because you like me.
Why?
I don't. Not. Doesn't need you. Tell me. Do you bleed?
Wow, cool. Wait a minute. The fuck?
The Snyder Cut is born. Media and fans debate the Snyder Cut's existence. Some say it's only an assembly cut, while others argue Snyder's Justice League was complete and Tom Holkenberg, aka Junkie XL, had completed the score. In early 2018, artist Jay Oliva says there is a Snyder Cut, and it may not be 100% polished, but all the planned scenes were shot and edited into a full timeline. Screen Rant published an article saying Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League was more complete than you realize. Recently, 2 Justice League VFX supervisors confirmed that the VFX of the Snyder Cut was almost done, but not quite.
Oh yeah, I think we're good. We're good. Is that it? Oh, there's more. Much more.
Hundreds of thousands of people who are demanding the Snyder Cut. It doesn't exist.
What's up, Collider fans? Warner Brothers won't release a cut of Justice League that never existed in the first place.
As much as I love the Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, I know enough of what's going on behind the scenes to know that, guys, there's no Snyder Cut. It's impossible to put together.
It's just fans. Why can't fans be smarter?
Right.
So why after 2 years are fans still adamant a Snyder Cut exists, even with the timeline Snyder provided on social media of his post-production progress? There's still some lingering questions answered by the cast and crew themselves. Justice League storyboard artist Jay Oliva confirms the existence of the Snyder Cut.
The thing about the Snyder Cut is that, Zack, he's not one of those directors who builds the movie in the edit room. Like, it's all storyboard out, it's all planned out. So every single shot that he had planned for the film is in there. There's already that cut, Of course, then he then goes in and they start editing it down, to get it closer to the length that they need it to be. But there are versions of it. And so now I've seen, it's now semantics, right? People saying, they're talking about, oh, Jay Oliva's just talking about an assembly cut. That's so different than a Snyder Cut. And I'm like, well, you know what? There's an Oliva cut of Dark Knight Returns. Same thing. I still have cuts of my different films. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist or that it's not watchable. When I saw the theatrical version of Justice League, I saw it in the theaters. For me, I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it, but, I didn't know a lot of the things that were going on behind the scenes. I just knew that, what happened with Zack's family, and he had to step away and Joss taking over. So when I saw the film, not really quite confused, because again, the draft that I had worked on was very different. And I really was curious about, like, where was all the stuff that I had known, that I knew that was planned. Where was all that, and that's all. I mean, again, at that time, I had never really thought about the Snyder Cut movement or anything like that. It was just, I went to go see it because, again, I worked on it, and I was just excited to see what the next chapter was. I mean, a lot of the sequences that I worked on were in there, but then there's a lot of stuff that was changed, mostly the ending.
Yes, absolutely. Because listen, the truth is, I'm a fan, and I really, I've loved these characters pretty much my whole life, and so getting an opportunity to put him in a movie together was not a thing I thought would happen, other than just in my mind, maybe. And so to actually do it and be on set and have these guys, standing in front of me was really beyond a dream come true. And more, yeah, people, I often get the question like, oh, do you feel pressure about the movie? Do you feel pressure? I felt pressure the whole time, but mostly it was pressure and sort of stress I put on myself because I wanted it to be right.
Justice League's Ray Fisher confirms the existence of the Snyder Cut.
I mean, Zack's film, he shot everything that he wanted to shoot. I mean, it's not a matter of whether or not it exists. It's a matter of whether or not we see it. But no, it's I know people are sort of really hungry for that sort of thing, and you never know, maybe one day.
In March of 2019, Zack Snyder, at his Director Cut event, confirms he has a cut. Some deleted scenes have been shared by Snyder over the past 2 years, like one showing Cyborg's back history, another showing Darkseid and not Steppenwolf in the Wonder Woman history lesson. Numerous additional scenes were leaked, some showing Barry Allen and Iris West. And the many deleted and altered scenes advertised in the trailers. Cinematographer Fabian Wagner and storyboard artist Jay Oliva both were not asked to come back for the reshoots.
We finished shooting, and obviously, as always on a film like this, you know that there's going to be reshoots, and you know there's going to be, test screenings, and they're going to change a few things. So obviously that's always expected. By the time that they were reshooting or planning the reshoots, I was actually not available anyhow because I had started prep on another movie. So the last thing that I knew and the last thing that I had seen was 16 when we were shooting, and I went into the color grade, and I saw Zack there, and we were grading the first couple of trailers, which you guys also. And so trailer 1, 2, and 3 were the ones that Zack had cut, and they were the ones that Zack and I had colored, and they were the ones that they had all the material in it that we had shot.
Have you seen the theatrical cut of Justice League?
I have, unfortunately.
Obviously, you worked on the film, so in terms of percentage, how much would you say of the film was changed?
It's really hard to say because I was watching it and I think I was crying all the way through.
Or a similar experience all around.
So it's hard for me to say exactly how much was changed, but a lot was changed, and it looked very different. And
Jason f***ing Momoa. Enough said.
Yeah, because in Zack's cut,
some fans are obsessed with the so-called Snyder Cut of Justice League, like an alternate cut.
Yeah.
Are you, I mean...
I'm obsessed with it too.
Are you?
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Like, do you want to see a different version eventually at some point, or is there a different version?
You know, that's just one thing that sucks with our business, where you just can't speak your mind, but yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll keep it at that. You're always going to be indebted to Zack. Zack Snyder's your
Totally,
guy.
man.
He changed
Totally.
your life.
Totally.
So is that partially why when we spoke about a year ago and I brought up the Snyder Cut, you're like, yeah, I need to see that?
Yeah, absolutely. But I have seen it, so.
I've seen
the Snyder Cut, so.
So what does that mean? Because the effects aren't done. Like you've seen his assemblage of footage and alternate takes, etc.
Oh, do you think Zack couldn't finish it? You don't think he?
I don't know. You tell me. He's finished.
I mean, listen, man. Next question.
Do you think we'll ever see it? Do you think the public will ever see it at this point? Because it seems like it's actually, the groundswell has grown, and a year ago I would have had my doubts.
You know, I'm obviously indebted to Warner's and DC, and you know, I don't know how they feel about it, but I mean, as a fan, I'm very, very happy that I get to see it.
Does it feel like a totally different movie than the Justice League that was released? Okay. Here's hoping. Okay.
Ray Porter even shared a preview of his Darkseid voice acting in support of the Snyder Cut.
Project Comic-Con. Release the Snyder Cut.
Some of the biggest changes include Harry Lennox cast as Martian Manhunter and removing the heart of the movie, Cyborg.
All things considered with Cyborg, there was a lot of material that we didn't get to see with respect to Cyborg's backstory. I think ultimately, you know, everybody put a lot of hard work into this thing. Totally. And, you know, there are a lot of decisions that get made that, you know, we don't necessarily have any control over.
Who hit the gym the most? No.
All these guys here, they're equally muscular.
This guy got the biggest. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see too much of it. We shot a couple scenes. We got to remove it.
That's true.
Too amazing.
That's true. Too incredible. What can you
do?
Through many leaked scenes of Cyborg, we see his evolution as a character throughout Justice League.
Deleted scenes show Cyborg's mother and Silas Stone's death. And in October 2019, Screen Rant and Junkie XL confirmed the score was complete.
When asked about if his cut was off limits or was it changed, Tom Holkenberg answers with, "The full score is still there. It's a really great score. It's just there. It never goes away. We'll see what happens in the future, you know?" And when asked if we'll ever hear it, Holkenberg responds with, "I have no comment on that, but I'm just saying."
Mark Hughes, a contributor to Forbes, was adamant the Snyder Cut did not exist. After working with Jay Oliva, he flipped his stance and corrected the record.
I know of at least one cut that is over 90%. I'll say specifically the numbers that I was told was 92 to 95% completed. All I can talk about is what I did here, and what I was told was over 90%, meaning 92 to 95%, and I was told that there were additional cuts of the film. I was told, and I've seen things that lead me to feel confident about that number.
I know what you're asking yourself. Why would WB alter a movie that was over 90% completed? Why would you alter a movie so heavily after its completion?
That does not make sense.
It's a popular theory that the movie was just an assembly cut, and Whedon was only working with unfinished scenes. But the evidence shows that the movie and his cut was almost complete.
Zack Snyder fans have shared more than just angry tweets, including raising and donating over $110,000 to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and crowdsourcing funds for a billboard outside of San Diego Comic-Con, among other banners calling for the release outside of large events.
What happens now? What will be the result of the Snyder Cut and the growing public demand?
String of announcements regarding HBO Max offerings and Junkie XL's comments that his Justice League score is complete got me thinking, wouldn't it be cool and beneficial if WB spent a few bucks to finish the Snyder Cut of Justice League and release it directly to a streaming platform?
I want to go to our producer Ryan, because prior to the show I was talking to Ryan, and Ryan feels like the Snyder Cut is closer than ever to being released. Ryan, talk to me about the Snyder Cut.
I totally believe this. I think that this movie has such a high chance of being released, especially with HBO Max. I mean, what better way to get people to subscribe to your new service than like, hey, we're going to release, it's probably not going to be called the Snyder Cut, but a director's cut of Justice League. That would flock DC fans there.
One thing that I think that I mentioned before that's a potentially good outcome is I suspect that probably sometime, if not later this year, next year, and probably maybe it's more likely next year, I think that with a new incoming CEO and the opportunity to do a goodwill gesture, I would not be at all surprised, and I in fact expect that we'll see Warner Brothers releasing a version of Snyder's cut of Justice League on the HBO Max streaming service.